Hello, everyone. We're going to be presenting the AP States of Consciousness unit. I'm Ferris.
I'm Priya.
And I'm Mary.
Starting off with important people, we have McCarley and Hobson. McCarley and Hobson are relatively recent psychologists who both died in 2017 and 2021, respectively. These two psychologists worked together in order to come up with the activation synthesis theory of dreaming. We also have Sigmund Freud, who is a very well-known psychologist who lived from the 19th to the 20th centuries. Freud was mostly known for his work in psychoanalysis and was one of the preliminary researchers in dream analysis. He also came up with the theory that you have dreams that reveal your subconscious mind. Lastly, Mesmer and Braid were two psychologists that specialized in the field of hypnosis when it was first established. These two are largely known as the founding fathers of hypnotic psychology, and the word mesmerize actually came from the name of Mesmer. Before going into sleep stages, I'd like to first acknowledge some general information. First, sleep is the most common state of consciousness. You spend 1/3 of your life sleeping. Next, sleep is very important. This is because sleep is able to help us learn better the next day and have more energy in general. Not getting enough sleep can also result in stunted development. Microsleep is a condition in people who haven't slept for days on end. Essentially, what happens is that people who are tired will black out for a few seconds and become unconscious. Lastly, the hypnagogic state is a state of consciousness that occurs in the period of time before you fall asleep. This state makes you feel very disconnected and is almost dreamlike. Moving on to the stages of sleep, the first stage of sleep, also called N1, is the lightest phase of sleep. It lasts around 10 minutes, and it is where you might experience body jerks, which may be indicative of how much stress you endured throughout the day. Finally, during the sleep stage, the brain exhibits alpha waves. Also, if you look closely, you can see this GIF to the right to demonstrate these body jerks. Next is sleep stage 2, or N2. Stage 2 actually makes up for 50% of our sleep time, even though it only lasts 20 minutes. We'll adjust why in a future slide. Additionally, during N2, our brain shows sleep spindles. Sleep spindles are bursts of brain activity that occur periodically. Following is sleep stage 3, also called N3. N3 lasts 30 minutes and is where your body starts to slow down. In this stage, our body temperature will drop as we enter deep sleep and delta waves begin. Subsequently, sleep stage 4, or N4, is our deepest phase of sleep, meaning that it would be very difficult to wake someone from this stage. During sleep stage 4, people may be prone to sleep talking, walking, and bedwetting. At this point, the delta waves from stage 3 of sleep are now prominent. Lastly, we have stage 5 of sleep, or rapid eye movement sleep, or active sleep. During this stage, our body activity increases, thus the name of active sleep. Furthermore, some key hormones such as human growth hormone, adrenal, and sex hormones are released. Dreams are also most likely to occur in this stage, and the length of REM sleep will increase as the night progresses from 10 minutes to up to 60. In addition, adults only spend 25% of their sleep in REM, while babies will spend 50% of their sleep in REM, most likely because key developmental hormones are secreted during REM, which babies need. Finally, beta waves are exhibited by our brains during this phase, which are the waves that show when we are awake and alert. I also wanted to address a couple more things that are important to understand for this unit. Whenever we sleep, we go through cycles each night, as our sleep stages do not occur in a single linear direction. Rather, we go from stage 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to REM, back to 4 to 3 to 2, and back to 3 to 4 and REM. After we've been asleep for a while, we will eventually stop going through all the sleep stages and only cycle through REM and stage 2. Also, stages 1 through 4 of sleep are known as quiet sleep because there's not much body activity.
Moving on to sleep theories, the first theory is that sleep provides protection. Humans aren't nocturnal creatures and are very vulnerable during the night. So humans have evolved to sleep at night in a sheltered area in order to protect ourselves from the dangers of the night. The next theory is recuperation. During the day, our brain can accumulate toxins that need to be flushed out from our system. It is believed that when we sleep, your brain gets rid of those toxins and our immune system is rejuvenated. Sleep is also thought of to restore and rebuild memories from the day, sort of like filing memories into a filing cabinet called long-term storage. Sleep also fosters creative thinking and can increase learning. Lastly, sleep supports growth. During REM, hormones that help one grow are secreted, so getting proper sleep is extremely important for developing children and teens. There are 5 main dream theories that we learned about. The first theory is that dreaming helps develop and preserve neural pathways. Basically, what this means is that dreaming stimulates our neural pathways and thus strengthens them. The next theory is that dreaming reveals our subconscious mind. This theory was backed by Freud, and an example of this would be that if you dream of a banana, it would be representative of something to do with a gun in real life. Freud might say it means something else, but that isn't really appropriate if you know what I mean. The third theory is that dreams restore and rebuild memories throughout the day. This explains why you might dream of something you experienced that day. The next theory listed is the activation synthesis theory. It was observed that while you're sleeping, electrical activity that originates from the brainstem spreads throughout the cerebrum, and this electrical static is interpreted by our brains into dreams. This explains why our dreams might be very random and abnormal. Lastly, dreams are also thought of to reflect an individual's cognitive development. People who are younger will have much less complex dreams. A couple more details about dreaming include lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming is a special type of dream where you are able to control the events in a dream. Additionally, dream analysis fits into the dream theory that dreams are able to reveal your subconscious mind. Dream analysis works by examining manifest content and latent content of your dreams. The manifest content is what the dream actually is, while the latent content is the hidden meaning that underlies the actual dream. In our banana example, the banana would be the manifest content, while the gun is the latent content. Also, adding onto the cognitive development theory, children ages 3 to 4 will often have dreams that resemble a storybook. Children who are 5 to 6 will have dreams with motion, and children who are 7 to 8 will have dreams of themselves as a character, and children who are 8 to 9 years old will have adult-like dreams. Moving on to brainwaves. There are 4 brainwaves that we covered in class, those being alpha, beta, delta, and theta waves. The first 3 we covered, but theta waves are exhibited when someone is in deep hypnosis. Next up is drugs. There are 3 major classifications for drugs, those being stimulants, which excite the body systems, depressants, which relax the body systems, and finally hallucinogens, which mainly alter the ability for our mind to sense stimuli. Moving on, there are a couple key terms that we need to know for this unit. When people start to abuse drugs, they might develop a dependence/habituation or addiction, and there is a clear distinction between these terms. Dependence/habituation is a psychological need for the drug. You only think that you need to use that drug. On the other hand, addiction is a physiological need. At this point, your brain is now relying on the drug to carry out its everyday actions. If someone is addicted to a drug and they stop taking that drug, they will undergo withdrawal. Withdrawal is the pain or discomfort that someone feels that is caused by the brain and not being able to work properly in the absence of drugs. When someone is addicted, and specifically to opiates, the brain gets used to not having to produce pain-reducing neurotransmitters because the drug is doing it. As such, once the drug stops being taken, the abuser will have no natural way to reduce the pain they feel because the brain has gotten used to not having to mitigate that pain. This brings me to my next point. Tolerance or neuroadaptation is the brain's ability to accommodate different circumstances. An example of this relates to the drug specifically is that over time you need to take more of a drug in order to reach the desired effect because the brain has gotten used to being exposed to that drug.
Next, we will talk about sleep disorders. One of the most well-known sleep disorders is insomnia. Insomnia is the condition in which people will often have trouble getting or staying asleep. However, people with insomnia get more sleep than they might feel. One of the reasons people with insomnia feel exhausted is because they aren't getting enough sleep in stages 3 to 5, which are the stages of sleep you need to receive in order to feel well rested. There are a few homeopathic or natural remedies people may be able to use to help them sleep. Those being consuming milk or even having a turkey sandwich are a great source for tryptophan, a neurotransmitter that helps you sleep. Another sleep disorder is night terrors. Night terrors are essentially a panic attack that occurs during sleep stage 4. However, night terrors are not to be confused with nightmares. Nightmares are just scary dreams, while night terrors happen usually without dreams. Night terrors also usually happen in children, and your heart rate can double in just a few moments, up to 152 beats per minute. A few other sleep disorders that are important to know include dysomnia, which is just a term to describe sleep issues that occur in stages 1 through 4 of sleep. Additionally, sleep apnea is a condition in which you spontaneously stop breathing while you're sleeping. One machine that is used to treat sleep apnea is a continuous positive airway pressure device, or CPAP for short. This machine works by breathing for you and forcing your breath to circulate in the event that you stop breathing during sleep. Next, there is cataplexy, or commonly known as sleep paralysis. Occurs when someone wakes up but the body is still paralyzed due to the effects that sleep has on your extremities. Adding on, there's also narcolepsy, which is a disorder that causes one to immediately fall into REM sleep after excitement. Lastly, REM behavior disorder is a condition in which someone will violently act out their dreams. This can be done dangerously, especially if you sleep next to someone. Hypnosis is a procedure in which the subject is put into a trance-like state. Before we get into the uses, we should address some of the major misconceptions about hypnosis. The first is that people have complete control over you. Second is that you'll do anything that you're asked. The third is that you aren't able to remember what happens during hypnosis. And the last is that anyone can be hypnotized. Rather, in order to be hypnotized, one must be open-minded to the possibility of being hypnotized, and some people are simply just more susceptible to hypnosis than others. On a different note, some of the major uses for hypnosis are pain relief, entertainment, overcoming phobias, anxiety, and end bad habits, maybe through a post-hypnotic suggestion, which is suggestion for a certain behavior during hypnosis that is to be carried outside of hypnosis.
Thanks for listening.